Okay, people. So I am pleased to be joined by Richard J. Bosner. Richard, thank you very much for your time, man. Really
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Yeah, nice to be here.
Awesome, man. So you've got a new short that's having its premiere at Holly Shorts,
I do.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Devotee.
Yes.
Hmm. This is a really interesting but creepy fucking story, man.
Thank you. I tried.
Like, you know what I mean? Where does this come from?
Basically, this comes from I wrote a feature film version of this during the pandemic. And,
Right.
um, I was really working on that. By the time I was finished with it, we ended up having the strike.
Mm,
So everything kind of came to a halt, the writers, actors, everything. But luckily, SAG was still letting people do short films. So I was like, let's take advantage of this time. I had so many friends that weren't working that were available. And, these are the most amazing artists in their fields. I was like, let's just get together and do this. So we did. I got so many people that I love working with that came and, to collaborate on this. It was a 2-day shoot that we did in the summer last year. And we just pulled it together. So it was great.
okay. So it is part of a larger thing,
It
right?
is. Yeah.
And so is the hope to get that interest and then make the feature?
That's the idea, yes. So, but really, when I decided to do it, I knew that it also worked as a standalone piece. I was like, this will
Hmm.
also totally work as, exactly what it is. It's got a beginning, a middle, and end. It's a joke, just like how a joke works. And I was like, this will be perfect for, festivals and things like that, keeping it under 10 minutes. And that's what we did. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely works on its own. Like you have so many questions afterwards, but
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah.
Now, when you're putting this together, right, the fact that it is part of this larger story, did you automatically know what part you were thinking, okay, we can't make the feature, but we can make a short, right? Let's do that. Now, did you know, oh, yes, let's just take that segment, or was it a lot of kind of just going through and being like, actually, that could not that one, let's maneuver this, you know what I mean? How did you decide on what element to create here?
Absolutely. Well, basically, this is the cold open of the movie, of the feature. I just took the first 6 pages, directly ripped them out of the script, and said, "This is what we're gonna film." But there was no changes, no, this is what we're gonna do. So,
Ah,
um, and basically, the summertime, the way it worked too is that, this scene is the only scene that has a child actor in it. And I needed to do, work with the child during the summer because of all the rules of, labor laws and everything. You get more hours, plus it's a nighttime shoot. So that was like, this is our opportunity to really do this and find, the right cast, the right kid to play the protagonist, and luckily it all came together perfectly. Yeah.
ah,
Yeah.
okay, okay. So, all right, like the casting. How did you get this group of actors involved?
Well, I worked with my casting director, Herman, on basically finding the right 3 people for this. MacKenzie Firgens, she's been a dear friend. I've known her for many years. I cast her in a film like almost a decade ago. And I knew she was a big horror fan, and I knew she could just pull this off perfectly as the mother. So that was a very easy cast. The other two, basically, finding the right child actor for this, it was very difficult. We looked at a lot of different kids who were talented, but just not the right fit. And really, to get somebody that's that young to do such a dramatic and powerful scene is was really hard. So we saw a lot of auditions, but finally I was just like, I guess I just got to find somebody. So I started surfing through different shows and everything. And I came to one of the last episodes of the Obi-Wan series on
Mm.
Netflix. And I was like, whoever is playing this kid that's playing Luke Skywalker is amazing. So basically, I had my casting director reach out to Grant Feely, who's is in my film, and we cast him to play the role, and he was excellent. So
Oh shit!
yeah,
It's just like that.
just like that. I was like, well, this kid can do it. He's running and screaming and crying, and he's perfect. Like this, he's really really good. And then for the other role, for the tall thin man, again, it was a lot of like looking around to find somebody who had the right look, but also the right demeanor to be, basically a cult leader that could work in a sinister but also charming type of way. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Ah, right. Now, with the child actor, because as you said, right, there are some really good child actors out there, but I also feel there's a lot that because when you think about acting, right, a lot of the time it's the reps, right? It's your life experience that can go into you finding these emotions. So there's times when you watch stuff and kids aren't hitting those things because they haven't been through that stuff. They have
Right.
no experience of that stuff. And you have a lot of kids in things that aren't the best,
Hmm.
but you don't want to be mean, right? You don't want to be mean and be like, that kid isn't a great actor, because it's like the kid could grow into a great actor. But
Absolutely.
then, as a director, as people putting together projects, it must run into the issue of using the same kids over and over again. So, is there a thing about trying to find talent that works and not kind of just, saturating it with the same old people over and over again?
Yeah, I think so. And especially, I mean, if you're talking specifically about child actors, obviously kids go through different experiences. And I think also the different projects that they're brought to are bringing different emotions and how they present to different auditions. I know myself as a child actor, I did that, and it was very hard for me in terms of at such a young age. I was getting cast doing a lot of like being happy, being jovial, all these things.
Yeah.
And my mom actually tells me about this one time I went in and they wanted me to play a bully, and I couldn't do it because that wasn't in my nature. It wasn't something I
Mm.
had practiced to do, and it was just like it was very hard. It wasn't coming off natural. But then you get kids that like Grant and people like that who they're trained. I wasn't like totally trained or anything like that, and are really taking it seriously. And sometimes you can just see the gift that different people have, even if they don't have a ton of experience. That like, oh, there's something here. There's something to work with, and that was the case with Grant. So
Yeah, no, he was definitely really good in Obi-Wan.
yeah, yeah,
So, and you can see he's got those chops
yes.
because it's capturing that, like the intrigue of the search.
Hmm.
Right, and then there's the hesitancy, right? You're hearing things and you're like, "What's going?" And you can see there's like, because I think, as I said, there's so many interesting things about this and questions, because you go, "Okay, so the kid knows something,
Right,
right? But he doesn't, but there's not that abject fear."
right.
Right? It's not that situation, because there's still the relationship between him and his mum. You can still see the loves there, and there's that vibe and all of that. But so it's getting all of those things,
Yep, correct.
right? Being able to show all, and he really does. He really does, which is great. How do you create that atmosphere for the set? How do you get people into the right frame of mind for these performances?
Well, really, we talk about backstory and we talk about, where the character is going. And also, you know, with the child actor too, I think maybe some of it is a mistake, whether it's writing or directing or whatnot. That when you direct, that you're directing people as though they're children. They're people. Like
Yeah.
like direct them like they are an adult. Because you know, if you think back to that time, some of the things you're thinking in your mind then really they're exactly the same as they would be 30 years later, right?
Mm.
You
Oh,
know,
for sure. Yeah.
just act, you know, do what you would normally do in those situations, and especially with Grant, I mean, so professional and so you know, in the moment of what was actually happening. So really, you know, just making sure that, you know, on set there's always open dialogue, and if people have questions, and always having the answers as a director to where you see these characters going. I think, you know, things don't work when it's just like, well, I don't know, make it up, you know, that that's where things get, you know, kind of can go off the rails with a feature or a short film. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
I think what you just said there is very important, right? It's talk to a kid like, they're a actual person,
Yeah.
because you often see when people be like, "Hello, how are you? How are you? Oh, look at how are you?" And it's that like when people do babies and it's cuckoo cuckoo, and it's just like, wait, how you expect this little fucker to develop when you're talking to it like it's a moron,
That's it.
right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because I
It's
just think when you're a kid, you want to be seen as more than an idiot, right? You want to be treated like a person. There is always that thing of you wanting to be an adult, and it's not necessarily because you want to have a mortgage, right? It's because you just want to be treated with some more respect,
totally.
and not just told, do this, go there, wear this. You want more.
That's it.
So yeah, no,
Exactly.
I think that's a really good approach.
Yeah. So, and everyone was, you know, and it helped Grant obviously having experience being on a Disney set. You know, it's like it's a very
Mm,
professional atmosphere. It's and a lot of expectation put on a child to perform and to do what they're supposed to do correctly. So, I mean, he brought it wonderfully.
yeah. Where did that insight, come to you? How did you, kind of develop that approach?
I mean, really, for me, it's just because I grew up basically in the theater and stuff, and my parents were both directors and actors, and you know, I spent a lot of weekends you know, doing set construction or like doing my homework in a audience as my parents are directing actors, and you know, it's really about communication. And so it's kind of been ingrained in me to just do that, and obviously treating people in general in life, you're going to get a better response if you just treat people like, you know, you respect them and you respect what they bring to the process of especially art or, you know, filmmaking. The results just always become better. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, it is that old adage that I believe in, right? Treat others like you want to be treated.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And it shows because this end product is really good, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? You definitely like it's a showcase for this larger film, but also what you can actually do, you know what I mean,
Right.
yourself, right? It really shows your talent here, man.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, it's just, what I see on the screen, right? It's
That's
just
it.
as simple as that, man.
Well, I
Like,
just, you know, I wanted to take what you literally were reading on the page and whatever you were visualizing was like that is what I wanted to put up, you know, display. So,
mm.
yep.
Now I'm curious about, like, and without giving anything away, right?
Yeah.
Towards the end of the film, there's something that Ray sees.
Hmm.
And the emotion we see on Ray's face is great. But obviously, he's not actually seeing what we're seeing on the screen. So, how do you construct something like that and have someone convey where you're not actually you know what I mean? Because you know, we've got like you also hear with people acting with green screens, and you know, some people find it difficult. Sometimes, you know, they're told, oh, just act like this. Sometimes there's someone, you know, acting out a thing which we don't see. So how did you frame that stuff towards the end?
Well, again, going back to kind of what I was saying, I mean, it was the actors really understood what the scene was, right? And there are a lot of different effects and stuff going on in the last couple shots, which, you know, it had to be timed out very perfectly to do it. But really, I mean, there wasn't much besides, you know, just giving the actors motivation for what you're seeing. If it were a real, if it were to really happen, it would be a crazy traumatizing event,
Yes.
right? And the truth is, both of those actors fully committed and understood that. So there wasn't much beyond that that I had to do. Obviously, the way we filmed it, like both actors are they're not actually seeing the other actor
Mm.
because we had to do certain things, but they brought the performance that was very authentic and real. So um that's just kind of, I mean, that's all them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know, MacKenzie, like the look that we get from her is just like, oh Jesus. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
it.
has she been talking to Charles Manson? Like, what's going on here? Right?
That's it. That's it. Well, you know, Mackenzie, I've known her for like a decade. I cast her in a film a long time ago, and we've stayed in contact. And when I wrote the sequence, well, I wrote the film and then was going to film the sequence, I knew that she would just be perfect. So I was like, you know, you have to do this. And she's a huge horror fan and just fell right into it perfectly. I was like, well, that was a no brainer. That was easy. So she just did a wonderful job. Yeah.
So you're friends with MacKenzie?
Yes, yes, I've known her for since, like, 2009. Yes.
Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, are you still friends with MacKenzie?
Yeah.
Because you know what I mean? You're like, you wrote this and you thought she will be great for it. That I don't know if that's a compliment. I don't know if that's a compliment, man.
It is, because she's so, I mean, she's so diverse as an actor. I mean, she can do so many different things, and, I mean, I knew she could bring exactly what I wanted to this, which is, you know, a very layered performance, and it was, I mean, I'm really grateful she did, you know, come to do this film, so, yeah.
Oh no, she definitely killed it. It was definitely, you know, just well done. It really was.
Uh,
So it was a 2-day shoot. Like, was it hard to structure those days? Like, was there a lot of contingency that you had to put in place?
It was hard to structure the days in terms of, again, because we were working with a child. So it was like we had to do some like day for night stuff in terms of like we had to tent part of the house to make it look like it was nighttime. It wasn't. And then the other parts we were able, because we were able to, I think it was film with Grant up until about midnight. So you know, we'd get him up until then, and then we would do the rest, like go into the morning and do everything else with like Mackenzie basically. So
Right.
so that's kind of how we did it. And that in terms of itself was kind of hard to structure. And the location again was in a very like windy, up a really windy crazy hill, so that was kind of tricky to get, you know, the whole crew in there, because we had a pretty good sized crew, a crew of about maybe 30-35 people. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Ah.
yeah.
Now, was there yeah, I mean, what was the hardest part of this, you know, project?
Um, the hardest part of the was still probably, you know, getting everybody on the same page to come do this on the weekend, you know, especially the cast. The cast was all from different places. You know, Grant was from Alabama, Mackenzie's from LA, and Ben Bladden, who plays our tall thin man, he's from Atlanta. So,
Right.
you know, and we shot this in Kensington, California, which is in Northern California. So it was a lot of people coming from different places, including the crew. We had crew coming from Los Angeles and a lot of Bay Area crew, but to get everybody coordinated for just a 2-day shoot was tricky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And because we don't know what year this is set, but I'm kind of feeling it must be early 90s
Correct. Yeah.
because of the internet, as it were.
That's it. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
specific that it was dial-up internet, so it's supposed to take place in the mid to early 90s, basically.
Mm. I mean, because I think as this film starts, because we see the exterior and then we hear a noise.
Mhm.
And I think, depending on when you were born, as soon as you hear that, you know what's going down.
That's it.
You know what I mean? You'll be like, "Yo, what?" But there's people that are like, "What's dial up?"
Yeah, it's
What?
that's the stage. I know. Yeah, no, it was very intentional to do that, to really not only are the first images, but the first sounds you hear, especially of a horror movie, are so important,
Mm,
and I think that something in cinema that is basically, um it kind of goes under the radar a lot is just how important sound design is to a movie. Um, and I think nowadays, even like some of the most exciting reasons I go to the movies anymore, too, it's not really the visual effects. We've seen every visual effect under the sun now, right?
yeah.
When you hear some amazing sound design, it's like it's incredible, to hear what they've done. It's just so immersive, basically.
Well, I think because, and this is, I feel this, it's a bit like stunt people because they don't get the recognition.
No,
You know
definitely.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to sound design, there's an Oscar for composer, but that everyone's looking at composers and the music, the score of a film.
Right.
But I don't think people really quite grasp that layering of sound, right? That what I mean, immersive feeling you get just by those noises, right? The creaks of a door, that the wind, the sound of leaves on a window, just those kind of things. You just think, I mean, that's what happens, right? When you're driving, or
Yeah.
when you're in a house, and obviously they're just noise, but it's not, because it's not like everything's, you mic up the twigs on a tree, right? All
Right.
of this is created, and I
Yeah.
don't think people really understand it because it's not really talked about.
That's it. It really isn't. It's funny. Even look at like most film reviews. People talk about the visuals of a movie, but they very rarely talk about the audible aspects of a film. You really don't hear it. But if that's the thing. I love going to the movies now and like listening for stuff and like, oh, that's really clever. That was great. This is, it's a lot there.
Mm. Yeah, no, it definitely adds to something.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it really does. Like, how easy was it getting those sounds though? Like getting that internet sound and all of that kind of stuff.
Well, we worked with the very best. I mean, we worked with Tom Myers over at Skywalker Sound. I've done 2 movies with them, and they have an immense library of everything, over at George's facility in Marin. And how difficult was that? I don't know personally, but I do know that they have a vast library of different audio files to pull from, and just going through it with them and really fine tuning all those small little things that you hear, the wind, the dog barking, the chime, like everything, to really
Mm.
pull in that atmosphere of what this was supposed to be. It was great. Yep.
Ah,
Yeah.
and was that an easy situation to get going, like to get that relationship to work with them on? Because I imagine so many people want to work with them.
Right, right. Well, that's the thing. I've been working with them. I've known them for quite a while. I've done one of the films I'm known best for is called Fruitvale Station,
Great film.
which I did with them. I brought them that film, and that's where I really started to form a relationship. And it was very interesting on that movie too, because the designer we worked with, I had never done this before on a little movie. We actually had two sound recordists on that film. One person that was doing all the regular dialogue and everything, and another person that was half the time just going around and getting ambient sounds of like the BART, the ticket, the ticket displays, the
Mm.
telephones, like, and all that stuff really, if you listen to that movie, adds a very dynamic dimension to what was a very, very tiny film production, basically. So,
Ah,
yeah.
yeah. No, really, really interesting. I think there was a film called Dagger that
Mhm.
came out earlier in the year. It's set in Wales.
Yeah.
Um, and their sound design was great.
Yeah.
Right, the way they got those effects, and there was another one. Chad Got the Axe, I think it was. It was a horror film, and again, the sound design on that was really, really good. And I watched Long Legs. Finally
Yeah.
got around to watching Long Leg. Oh my god!
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Like a friend, Ed Douglas, he worked on visual effects,
Yeah.
and I heard a lot about the film, right? And you see the posters are kind of creepy and
Yep.
the visual, but it it really did not let me like have any indication of what the fuck I was gonna see.
Yep.
And I'm so
Absolutely.
glad I did not go to the late screening because boy, it needed to be light going home because god damn.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I love it.
Oh man. With this, right? Is it the world premiere you're having
Yeah,
of
this is a
Holy
world
Shit?
premiere, yeah, Friday this Friday at 10 p.m. is the world premiere of it. Yes, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So have you and the cast actually seen this on a big screen?
I have.
Yeah.
Yes, I watched it at Skywalker in their theater, basically. So I've heard it and I've seen it, and so I'm really happy with how it turned out. So I'm excited to see it with an audience for the first time. It'll be great.
So
Yeah.
who has seen this? Have you let friends watch it? Have you had any is there any sort of gauging on, what I mean, what people think
Yeah,
essentially?
no, I've had friends see it. I've had, different, people inside the industry see the film, and I've gotten a great response so far. So I'm really excited to have an audience that's there that loves horror movies to see it, because that's a totally different experience to
Yes.
be with the people that love the genre. So I am really excited. Yeah.
Mm. And with a screening and a situation like that, going to a festival, and I guess this is slightly different because it's like a genre festival. Is Holly Shorts a genre festival?
No, it's basically a shorts festival. So shorts of all different genres, but the block that Devotee is playing in is the horror block, basically. It's
Ah, right. So you're gonna be in a block. Okay,
yeah,
okay. So
yeah,
yeah, so because it is down to that audience, right?
it is. Yeah, it is.
It really is, and the time you're screening, there's so many things that can play into how people perceive something.
Absolutely, absolutely, there is. So yeah, it'll be great to just be there and to share it finally. So many people
Mm,
put, it was we had I had counted at one point, but it's the crew is about over 100 people that worked on this movie.
yo.
From all of the crew to the visual effects artists and sound and post. So a lot of people put their time and effort into it, and I'm so grateful. So it's really going to be wonderful to share this with an audience that's there to see it. So
I mean, during the strike, right? So many productions shut down.
yeah.
So the fact that you could give all of those people work is a huge thing right there, my friend.
Yeah, no, I did feel fortunate, and obviously they came out to do it, and they were paid to do it too. I didn't ask anyone to do that for free. It was a lot of work because I wanted it to be on the same level as a feature film would,
Mm.
and really give it that, the same qualities. So the timing, for better or worse, even though no one was working, it worked out to be able to make this. So I feel fortunate.
Yeah, no, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, it really does show. It really does show in the end product. It is great.
thanks.
It really is. But I think the question is, when can we see the bigger film?
That's it. Well, I'm hoping to be able to announce some stuff really soon. We are casting it as we speak and putting together everything. So, I would say pretty soon we'll be able to make some announcements about that and keep everyone posted. So, but this
Yeah.
is the whole idea with this is to get people excited and to be like, I want to see more. I don't what else is happening in this story because it's a universe I want to explore. So, yeah.
Well, I think people will definitely be thinking, what the fuck is going through Richard's mind? Like, what's this crazy motherfucker got cooking for the rest of this
I
story, man?
know.
Uh,
That's the hope.
I mean, what is it about this story that kind of made you go, okay, this will be my next film? Because this will be the second directorial feature effort, right? Because the
Right.
first Falling Uphill was 2012.
Yeah, that
So
was a movie that I did. It was basically a micro budget film that I did at the time. And really, when I had done that, that was right before Fruitvale Station had happened.
mm,
And basically, the time I made that it was time to promote it, I had also gotten this call to do Fruitvale. And I had to decide what am I going to put my efforts towards? And I knew in my heart that Fruitvale had something very, very special that was undeniable that I had to put my attention towards. So, what I ended up doing is really focusing on producing kind of from that point on. And especially after Fruitvale hit, it just set me into a whole direction of putting together other people's movies and making some incredible films and working with people I feel very blessed to have gotten that trajectory and to embrace kind of what the universe had brought me at that time. But now having all that knowledge, having a decade of knowledge of producing and putting together these movies, it's only
mm,
better prepared me to go into this venture of directing and to doing what I truly, truly love, which is horror films and making them for an audience and putting it together in the way that an indie film should be put together. So, everything at the right time. So, yeah.
right. So yeah, I imagine, as you said, right, it's the experience that you've gained from producing all of these films, and you have worked on some friggin' huge projects.
Well, thanks. Yeah. I mean, part of it too is, I've always loved cinema. I love filmmaking, but I love the people too. A lot of these people, they've done the very, very beginning projects to the bigger projects. And it's really taking that group along for the ride and people that I really trust and have, deep friendships with. So I feel fortunate.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, 2012, right? That's when you made that first film.
Hmm.
Well, first feature film, shall we
Right.
say.
Right.
I mean, that's over 10 years.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Is
Yeah.
that so what do you think has been the evolution in your style? You know what I mean? Do you even think that you had your distinct voice at that moment in time?
Hmm.
And do you think you've got that because although this will be your second feature, you've done shorts,
Right, I
right?
have.
It's not like you've not picked up a camera or you've not
Right,
done you've been doing your thing, man. Like it's
yeah,
where do you find the time to do the shorts on top of all the other stuff, you know what I mean? But you've been
yeah,
doing stuff, but it's just like it's finding that voice because I think it's in everything, right? There's a lot of times, um, you know what I mean, like comic books. and
Mhm.
you'll see certain artists like Steve Eptin and Steve Eaton and just so many great people. And you look at their work and be like, that's incredible. And then you might look at something that they did early on in that career, and you're like, wait, is that the same person?
Same person. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You'd be like, that looks like Rob Liefeld, or that looks like, you know what I mean? Like Ramita Jr. And it's like everyone at the beginning kind of apes their idols.
Yep.
And it can take a minute to find your own distinctive voice. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, in a long-winded, way of getting to it, do you think you found your voice now?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, when I did Falling Uphill, which was my first feature, again, that was made with pennies, even much less. That feature film was made for way less than even the short film was made for, right?
Yeah.
And that was basically, it was kind of during the mumblecore phase of everything in cinema, and I really wanted to I had to get stuff out of me, and it was more therapeutic and like an exercise in what can we do with what we have right now.
Yeah.
And that was really more what that was than anything else, even though back then my love for doing this genre and style and everything is it was what I had the financing to do too, the
Yeah.
ability to do. And I just was like, making something is better than not doing anything. So that's what I did. And I still I loved that experience as well, but this is really where my heart is, and my what I want to be doing, working in this genre and this style of filmmaking. So it's everything in good time. So
Mm.
yep.
Yeah. And what is it about the horror genre? Because I know, I mean, it's a weird thing with horror, right? It's because I wouldn't say I love horror,
Right.
but horror is something that you find a lot of it on the indie scene, just because it's a lot easier to make than, say, you're not making an Avengers Endgame on an
Right.
indie budget, right?
No.
So a lot of people will start off with horror,
Right.
and there's some incredible horror films.
There
I've
are.
watched some really great horrors. So I'm in that love-hate situation with them. I can't watch them. There's a clear cut-off time. You know what I mean? It's like a gremlin, right? Don't eat after midnight. It's
Yeah,
like, don't, but fuck, I'm not even doing midnight. It's don't watch a horror after 6 p.m., son. You
good.
know what I mean?
Set
The
boundaries for
sun's
yourself.
going
That's
down,
good.
the horror goes off.
I like that. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, what is it that draws you to this genre?
I mean, I do love like the darker story, like the darker elements of storytelling. I think they're fascinating. I think a lot of people find that, especially, I mean, you see even now, like what a people love true crime. People love seeing that,
Yeah,
true crime, thrillers, horror. I think there's a fascination with it. And, another thing that draws me to horror is really the inclusiveness of the environment of the people that are in it. It's a lot lighter to make a horror movie where, maybe, doing something that is a dramatic, like a heavy, hard hitting dramatic movie with like social messaging and everything like that. There's a lot of pressure there, right? To like make the perfect movie. And I think there's a bit of um the expectations maybe might not be as high with a horror movie, and just the enjoyment of the process is a little bit, at least in my experience, is a little bit lighter, and people are able to maybe even put forth like better effort for what they're trying to do, because there has to be passion there and the people are
oh
having fun. um I think horror movies kind of play kind of like roller coasters also, like people, it's the excitement, it's that like up and down thrill of the moment, but you're safe at the end of it. No matter how terrifying it is, at the end of it you're still in your house and you're going to be okay. And
I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know if I feel safe afterwards.
Well, maybe
Right?
not. Maybe
I'm
not.
like, you know what I mean? It's just like, what was
Yeah.
that creek? Like,
Yeah.
it looks dark in that corner. Fuck.
Certain movies have done that to me too. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Yeah. But
Hey,
yeah.
oh, sorry, man.
No, no, that was it.
Oh, okay. No,
Yeah.
do you think horror needs more categorization, maybe? Right? Because it is a blanket term, but
Right.
there's so many different types of horror. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I spoke to oh gosh, I think it's Erica Orfino.
Mm,
She's got a new short called Dirty Bad Wrong. And
mhm.
it's like a body horror kind of film about a kind of a guy that, you know, a bit like an Army Hammer type of dude, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like he likes a little extra for dinner, let's say, right?
Okay. Gotcha.
Um the story is great. This is about this mum and a daughter and her son even, and she's trying to get money for his birthday, so it's doing a thing, right?
Mhm.
But it's horror,
Right.
but it's a different type of horror.
Yeah.
But it gets branded just under horror, and you
Right.
kind of feel that maybe if you broke it down, like, that could help people.
Yeah, I think that kinda and I think horror movies do go through that. I mean, there are all these subcategories of, body horror and witches and cults and all that, comedy horror, everything like that.
Mm,
Do we need it? I don't know. I mean, I think this is kind of a natural thing that, starts to get branded after a while once a certain amount of movies are coming out. What's like found footage, Blair Witch, um, things like that. But I think it definitely helps with an audience to know like what they're going to see. And I think in cinema especially it helps like if you're trying to get people into the theaters to see stuff. I don't they don't necessarily need to know, like, the whole plot or see the whole
yeah,
trailer or whatnot, but I think if you wanna get people there, it's good to let them know, like, "This is what you're paying money to see, and I think you should get what you paid for," like,
yes.
whether you like it or not, it's like, "Well, this is the type of movie it is." So, yeah.
Mm, yeah. No, definitely. I mean, I know I have to let you go shortly, but, right, we've got the premiere coming up, and
Yes.
then hopefully, this will be the next thing, the feature will be the next thing you're working on?
That's it. That is the hope. Yes, yes.
Okay. I mean, is there anything else that's, percolating in that mind of yours? Any other great
Oh.
stories?
There are always stories. Yes, lots of different like stories in this realm that I have that I'm, piecing together and putting together and, so many other wonderful collaborators that I'm working with in the space too. So, I mean, nothing I can speak of at the moment, but there'll be there'll be a lot more to come. So,
Okay. So we can see you behind the camera a lot more coming
yeah,
up.
absolutely. Yes, you'll be seeing me behind the camera for sure.
Ah,
Absolutely.
fantastic. I mean, it's great for us viewers, but man, there's a lot of people that might be a little disappointed they won't be able to get you to produce their products. Or are you still going to be dipping your toe in production?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm still producing stuff. I have all different types of movies that I'm still producing. I have a boxing film called The Faith of Long Beach that I'm
Mm.
doing later this year. Another thriller that I'm working with actor, writer, director Thomas Dekker on, which is another like body horror type of movie. So yeah, no, I'll always be or always be producing too. So now it's just there's a big emphasis on directing as well. So
Okay,
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait, Richard, to
Oh well,
be
thank
honest
you,
with you.
Kevin.
I,
I
I, I
appreciate
cannot
it.
wait.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome. And once the feature, I mean, what once it's ready to go, or once you've finished the production, I hope you'll come by and we can have another conversation, man.
I would love that. Thank you. Yeah, and thank you for having me and taking the time.
Hey, no worries at all, man. I'm so happy I got to watch this. The people at Brigade were happy, nice enough to send me the screener, and oh man, yeah, it was great. It was really a great piece of work.
I really appreciate it.
No worries, man. How can people keep track and follow you and all of that jazz?
Yeah, definitely. Well, you can follow me on Instagram. It's Rick Bosner. And then my website is bluecreekpictures.com. And that's my production company. You can follow kind of what we're doing there.
Awesome. Okay, people, all the links will be on the website. So make sure you go follow Richard. And because listen, you want to see Devotee. You really do. Now, what be sensible, watch it before the sun disappears from the sky. You don't want to get too fucked up. You know what I mean? But it's definitely worth watching.
There
So
you go. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate it.
hey, thanks for your time, man. And I hope you have a wonderful premiere, man.
Thank you.
Enjoy it, have a great time, and looking forward to seeing what you do in the future.
Sounds good. We'll talk soon.
All right, man. Take it
Take care.
easy.
Bye.
Bye.